They do not know the rising towers of Hillbrow. They do not know the sprawling suburbs of the north. They do not know the sweet sounds of isiXhosa, Afrikaans, Sesotho. They do not know our ways. They do not know our people. They do not know us. We are not waiting for permission. We are not asking to be seen. We are our own region. We are SSA, RSC Johannesburg, RSC Nairobi, RSC Saint-Denis. This is not just a league, it is a movement. 4 seasons deep, and we are only just beginning. We train on 200 ping. We grind through blackout. We fight through silence. And we win anyway. This is Sub-Saharan Africa. This is our fight. This is Season 4.
Oh yes, we are officially back on the RSC SSA Twitch channel, and I am thrilled that I could be the first one to greet you. It's RSC SSA Season 4, and we have so much going on this season. It's an absolute joke. Good evening, everybody. My name is Rhino. No, I do not have a grey beard, nor am I an absolute icon of the region, but unfortunately, he is busy out at LAN, so you're stuck with me for this week, but I hope I can still bring you all of the action from these week 1 matchups. 2 games for you on the docket tonight, and we'll be going through everything that comes from RSC this evening. But let's take a look at the RSC calendar for RSC Season 4, and there you can see it. We are in week 1. We are getting things started. We are starting off strong here, week beginning the 25th of August. And of course, we have so much going on. You can see in the middle there, RSC LAN. We'll get onto that a little bit later. Our 4 tiers have come back as well for this season: Prospect, Rival, Elite, and Master. Let's take a look then at our sponsors, the people that we thank, of course, every single season for RSC. And one remaining from last season is Genesis Extreme, our broadcast partners. They are the reason that we're able to bring you such a high quality broadcast for every single RSC stream. We thank them very much. And of course, Nearstream as well, our LAN equipment sponsors. Those guys are going to be providing us everything that we need for the RSC LAN coming up in the middle of the season. And last but nowhere near least, it is the wonderful Slayer Energy, our drinks sponsors. And of course, they are the ones who put up all of the competition for the can design earlier in the year. And they are also supporting our prize pool, which as of today stands at 16,700 Rand. You can see at the bottom there, 50 Rand is added for every single crate of Slayer Energy sold. And you can use the QR code that will appear on the side of the screen at random times throughout the night to go and get yourself a crate of Slayer and support RSC. We would appreciate everybody if they would be able to do that. Thank you so much. Every single crate that you buy, 50 Rand goes straight into the prize pool for RSC Season 4. And of course, the design as well came from the wonderful Never for Fame. Thank you so much for all of your submissions for the design competition, but that is going to be the winner on that occasion. So with that said, we've got the waffle out the way so we can bring in our casters for the first game. I'm thrilled to welcome Naori Mizuki, co-owner of Omnius Gaming, and Borky, one of the great Minecraft race players of all time. I hope you're both doing very, very well. Gonna start with you, Sam. It's a pleasure to have you on the cast tonight. How are you feeling about the new season?
Very excited. You know, this is not only Omnius's first season participating, but I'll be honest, it's my first season even knowing that it existed. And that I think just kind of shows how much it's growing year on year, time after time, season after season, continuing going from strength to strength. And I'm just glad to be a part of it.
We are glad to have you as a part of it. And of course, Borky, you've been around the globe, right? NA casting, EU casting, you're a big part of SSA last season, of course, on the Unity RLCS broadcast. How are you feeling about this season of SSA?
I'm super stoked to be here. I know I was kind of like a last minute substitution to the cast, and I couldn't be more honored. I participated a little bit over on RSC and EU, and now that I get to be here to continue representing SSA and just how much passion there is in this community, I can't wait to see how the season plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the sentiment echoed by a lot of people. Let's talk about this first game. In fact, I'm going to leave you two to talk about this first game because we do have it ready. Two orgs with top 8 pedigree take to the field for our first game of Season 4. It's Death Cloud Miasma versus Cosmico Luna. Take it away.
Ooh, Death Cloud Miasma and Cosmico Lunar. We're jumping into Elite. Not quite at that master level, but I would say Elite is arguably one of the more entertaining just because it's so close to that precipice and everyone wants to make a name for themselves. And with the first game of the season, it's a great way to make your name known now.
Absolutely. And what's so exciting is I was talking about this a little bit before we actually went live, but that kind of growth and seeing players go from strength to strength, it's actually like perfectly encapsulated in one of the Death Cloud players, Zadomino, who last year was playing in Rival and has now kind of clawed his way up, went from like a 1385 to a 1515 and is now playing in that elite area. And the team that he was playing with, Jawlers, they came second in Rival last season. So this is really cool, you know, onwards and upwards from strength to strength, and looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do now, you know, playing against some of the more advanced players, quote unquote, you know, some of those higher tier players. This is really cool.
Yeah, there's just so much that is left to be desired. And I know there was some conversation about Ford Hilux over on the Lunar side coming from Australia over to SSA. I'm not sure if they've made it yet, but if they have, and I mean, it just shows that they're willing to travel back to SSA just to compete here. It really speaks volumes for the competitiveness that this region has.
And that's the return of a champion as well, because he was on Delta Force last year and that team actually won Elite. So back, you know, with a bit of a, maybe not a vengeance per se, to kind of hold on to that crown, I suppose. And funnily enough, going through all of so he's on Cosmico and going through the rest of the Cosmico names. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if people have changed their names since last year, but going on face value, the rest of the team that are on the Cosmico roster did not compete last year. So on paper, it looks like this is a fairly fresh roster, but being captained by kind of veteran talent in Ford Hilux. That in and of itself is really, really exciting. And it's great to see that we've got kind of these veteran players taking some newer players under their wing and kind of showing them the ropes a little bit. But here we go. Kickoff has begun. And of course, immediately we've got control from Cosmico, but battered straight back into the other half.
Well, it is the first game of the season. Time to get those nerves and jitters out of the way as everything unfolds here. Will Ford Hilux be able to round the troops behind these, I would say, RSC rookies? I mean, and already they're off to a strong start. We have Senpai able to find that angle there. It's a missed touch there. And then Tristan disrupting that back line allows this play to occur.
Beautifully performed. Yeah, and of course, Cosmico, I mean, that's a name that we are so familiar with in the regular Rocket League circuits that we have here locally. So unsurprising to see that with such strong management, they will have picked up a very strong contender here in this 4th season of the RSC. But can they keep that momentum going? Got some really, really good control here, trying to keep that in their opponent's half, trying to keep that ball steady, slowly moving its way towards the goal. But this has been a really good defense so far, not allowing that ball to move through, and very quickly have taken control back, and we're on the other side of the court.
And Def had a great counter-attack look there, trying to get the score all evened out, but Cosmico has an even better counter. Tristan, this time, is the one that finds it through here. And look at this passing play that Cosmico put out. All 3 players involved in this one, and for DefCloud, not a lot you can do there.
Very cool. Yes, I'm quite impressed with how much pressure we're seeing from Cosmico, just constantly keeping that up in the face of a really strong defense. Regardless, they just keep that on all the time, not allowing any sort of space to breathe here. But now we've got control on the other side. Oh, that could have been a quick goal, but a beautiful save stops it from getting through the net. Now it's up to Cosmico to try to regain that control. Doesn't look like they're going to be allowed to do so. And there it is. Flossie, very quick at the start of the 3rd round, will get that return, but still at a round deficit.
And there's no boost here for Jalen. He still finds it in front of the net, trusting in Flosi to be there. DefCloud, great way to respond. They're able to cut that deficit only to 1. We still are north of that halfway point in this game, so plenty of ball remaining here on the first opening pitch. But, oh, Cosmico coming in. Tristan finding his 2nd goal of the game and instantly resuming that cushion they developed.
What a nasty goal as well. You have 2 other players right on top of you, trying so desperately to stop that from going in. And I mean, he kind of dribbled that all the way across the field and still managed to sneak it in there, despite what looked like it would have been a nice save to return that control. But very quickly back into the thick of things here. Flossie! Holy, literally from Narnia straight across the field, finds that tiny gap in the defense and instantly into the net.
And it's a little bit of an overcommit there too from Cosmico. That 3rd man just too far forward. And for DefCloud, great way to respond instantly. You know, especially after the caliber goal Tristan just put up there, to be able to find one right back and keep your hopes in this game alive. It is amazing. But we do see DefCloud here on the attack, trying to get some of this offensive identity established. It's a quick turn of pace though from Cosmico. Lovely save there as the last man. Flossie, can he get us back into the midfield? No, it's just going to be boomed away once again.
And we're talking about pedigree. Flossie, someone who came like 3rd place in Elite last year, so definitely makes sense to see them being one of the large proponents of just keeping DefCloud alive in this, back down to only a 1-round deficit. And that pressure that we were talking about from Cosmico a little bit earlier on, now DefCloud starting to match that. Took them a couple of minutes to kind of get their momentum going, but now it's super back and forth, and neither one really looking like they're getting a massive advantage. Very close to that potentially being a goal now, but look at this. There's so little boost available. There we go. Forward Hilux has that back up online, so gonna try to intercept, but continuing to hold this control. DefCloud not giving that space. The goal's relatively empty. Oh, they were there, but despite them being so close, it's Ryan to bring Cosmico up to 4.
Oh, and once again, it's Tristan there on the back line, who's just absolutely being a thorn in the side there for DefCloud. The physicality is on full display, and that sets up that opening. Senpai's not going to miss that open net there. Going for a follow-up shot there, and oh, he slots it between 2 defenders.
Okay, back-to-back goals here for Ryan. Man's got a bit of a point to prove. I mean, I was saying that Cosmico is the kind of org that you can expect to pick up some really solid talent, but this is looking a little bit dicey here. But we're not out of the woods just yet. There's still a little bit of time here to try to return. 3 goals is certainly doable, but they're going to have to try to match this pressure as far as humanly possible. Now already garnered some space across the field, but very quickly intercepted. These interceptions are nasty. No one's being able to hold on to control for longer than just a few moments. There's always someone there ready to stop things in its tracks. Now it looks like Tristan, the one with control. No ways. They'd moved all the way out of goal and there was literally no one there. And Tristan just so quick with that boost, knocks it straight in and no one can stop its path.
It's exactly what you were just mentioning. There's no breathing room here for DefCloud. Cosmico are just so quick to all of these 50s. They're not showing any respect to DefCloud here on the pitch. Tristan gonna try to take us up high, gets around 2, going for the double, unable to connect, but the follow-up rebound from Ford Hilux is probably gonna put this game a bit out of reach.
That's what you call a layup of note. Tristan and the captain of Ford Hilux working in tandem there. Perfectly executed. A 5-round deficit now. Deathcloud, I mean, something's got to give here. We're slowly running out of time, running out of opportunities to bring things back into their kind of control. And again, very quickly, right off the whistle blow, Cosmico have control. Now Flossie up in the air, trying to kind of stop that momentum just that little bit. But Cosmico continues to be the ones in control, passing back and forth, getting finally Flossie will be able to intercept. But how much more can get done here? We have control, but it gets stolen away down to the 1-minute mark. Domino now in control of the ball, trying to get closer and closer to that goal. But no, it's intercepted. Ford Hilux passes it on, but Jalen does manage to connect onto it, but the pressure continues to be high. This defense is strong, but it's going to take more than defense. We need a strong offense here. Bounces off one of the opponents, and Jalen very quickly scoops it in, and finally we'll get another goal for Deathcloud.
Oh, it's so lovely there from Jalen, just taking us close to coast, and then Flossie there as well for the assist, giving it that little tap around the last Cosmico defender. That sets them up for their third goal here. Almost another off of the kickoff. That would have been lovely because they are playing down from such a deficit as we now approach the final 30 seconds of this opening game. It's kind of a question now for Deathcloud. What can you take out of this? What confidence can you restore? Because it doesn't seem like you'll be able to win this one, but we are playing 4 games and you have plenty of time to adjust.
Nice little intercept there, a little bit of a goal. Oh, Jalen, beautiful. That one from the top ropes, well done. That took some serious teamwork. It was starting to look a little bit dicey. I thought Cosmico might even get a goal in. And you can see how Flossie is traveling with the ball there, ready and waiting to lay it up if necessary. But it was perfectly shot through by Jalen. There's still so much to get done now. Just 10 seconds left. We're so close to that potential overtime. But it's going to... Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Jalen. What was that? An absolute rock star here for the Deathcloud team. Perhaps Cosmico getting a little bit overconfident and allows that goal to just slip straight through their fingers.
Are they taking their foot off the gas, or is Deathcloud just finding some newfound life here? It is 5 seconds, so it might be too late. The kickoff doesn't go in their favor as well, and with 2 goals separating them here, well, it's going to be all that she wrote for game number 1. The ball does need to touch the ground first before we conclude it. Finally, it does. But for Deathcloud, for any of the fans out there, you might have some copium knowing they scored the last 3 goals, and that's something they can take with them.
And Jalen, a huge proponent in that one. Very, very impressive performance from him there. But yeah, it's a bit of a rough start. It felt like for Deathcloud, even at right at the beginning of the match, you could see it kind of took some time for them to find their footing, to get that momentum. Once they did, it started to look really good. But then Cosmico just answered back so strong, and it's actually reminiscent, and obviously there's completely different players, but the org itself, I remember watching you kind of talk to them, and it's like, so how did you get back into it? And it's that, aggression and that kind of keeping up the pressure as fast as possible, as hard as possible. And again, they've got some really what's the word, like experienced GMs, right? And so they could have obviously had some input there with the players and just kind of coach them through that. And to have such a dominant kickoff right in your first game of the season, sure, we do have a full 4 games to get through, but if that's how you're starting things off, you've got to wonder, every other team in the league, are you watching? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, get those scouting reports in now. See how both Deathcloud and Cosmico are playing right now. That game, in my opinion, until the very end, was all Cosmico. They had a majority of the field domination, and it was rare that we saw it on their side of the pitch. And every time it did get there, they just cleared it right back out. And there's a couple points where we just kept saying the play was intercepted. Deathcloud was trying to develop something, and Cosmico was there before anything dangerous came from it. So if they continue that, it's going to be a tough battle here for Deathcloud. But I do want to stress, we saw what they were capable of in those final minute. So, hey, if Deathcloud comes out swinging like that, well, it could go 2-2 here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can even see, right, despite the relative short amount of time that these guys have been playing together. You know, you're watching the Cosmico guys, and it looks like this is a team that's been together for ages, right? The communication is so good, setting each other up for those layups, being in the right place at the right time. Really impressive. But you could see that those attempts were being made by DeathCloud as well. You know, one of those goals that was set up, and Flossie's like right there next to the ball, trying to just make sure that if anything goes wrong, they're there to kind of lay that up. And it wasn't necessary, but that's the kind of teamwork and coordination that you need, making sure that there's someone there. I mean, how many goals did we see because there was just no one there? There was no one in the right place, no one ready to kind of intercept or to, you know, stop that goal entirely. You find an empty net, and honestly, you get given that opportunity, you're absolutely going to take it. So hopefully kind of as the games go on, we start to see that tighten up a little bit, because that was relatively close, right? 7-5. And when you consider that Cosmico was at like a 7-3, 7-2 lead towards the end of the match there, and a great resurgence from DeathCloud. So I think that there's a lot of potential here for DeathCloud to maybe turn things around, maybe make things that little bit more hotly contested.
Yeah, and I mean, it is the first game of the season, so there is plenty of growing pains that you have to get through. I mean, I'm sure they had some time to work together through the preseason, but it is a long season. It's a long series here. We got 4 games, 1 out of the way, and let's just go ahead and head right back into the action. I'm sure you've enjoyed us yapping here, but there is more action to be played out onto the pitch. Game number 2 kicking off now.
Ooh, okay. Quite a bit of a scuffle there, trying to get that control, but it will be DeathCloud that gets the early control here. Now, getting close to the goal, but not quite there just yet, and Cosmico will regain that. So we're just kind of back and forth a little bit, feeling each other out, seeing if we can bait out some of those boosts as far as possible and find ourselves that opening here. Nicely gaining some ground, but it's going to take more than just a bit of gained ground to get that opener. Oh, there we go. We're going to get that boost back up. Nope. Instantly intercepted. Ryan ready and waiting. Arms wide open. Flossie very separated from the rest of the team now, waiting for that little bit of backup. Nice little pass on over, but Forward Hilux is there to stop it from going into the goal. However, we've got a return here. There's a lot of bouncing back and forth, but nothing aiming it directly where it actually needs to be. And Cosmico continuing to put up that defensive pressure.
DeathCloud able to navigate through those murky waters and get themselves back here onto offense. Jalen's going to try to pass that across. It will go a little bit too far, too wide. Forward Hilux there to collect. Beaten out by Domino here is Ryan. Flossy taking us all the way. Forward Hilux, crucial touch because Flossy was lining that up for a double there. Tristan's not going to be able to connect there on the backboard. It leaves it for Domino, but this one's just sailed too high and out of play.
Just continuing, yeah, I mean, you can see both teams off the back of that first game now have really kind of pulled their socks up a little bit, and this continues to be blow for blow, a little bit of a slugfest. And we spent a lot of time in both halves, in fact, and I'm not entirely sure which one of these two teams has been given much of an advantage. Continue to just kind of trade it off. Either one gaining the ground that they really need. It's going to take a big opening here, it feels like, to crack through either one of these defenses. Somehow, we just keep intercepting, keep stealing away that control, not allowing either one of the teams to get anywhere near a potential goal taken.
Ooh, and it's just kind of a dogfight here in the midfield. We can see the bumps coming out as well. Forward Hilux is just going to try to loft one towards next. Leave this here for Ryan, still missing the mark. We are still scoreless here. It's been about 2 or so minutes, and it's a completely different narrative from that first game where we already had like 6 goals combined. At this point, we might find our first there. But Cosmico still just battling it out on this goal line, able to hold.
Pressure just unrelenting here from both sides. You know, DeathCloud getting so close in so many of these instances to finally getting it in, but the Cosmico defense just remains untenable. But now Cosmico, nope, they had the control, and Domino says no sirree. Oh, that looks like a clean shot, but there's a lot of DeathCloud players in the vicinity, so not going to be the clean shot that they were maybe hoping it would be. It gained them a little bit of ground, but there was no one there to follow up, so DeathCloud will very quickly regain the control here straight towards the net. But of course, 2 players from Cosmico there will deny that from going through entirely. Beautiful boost there. Up, up, and away. But is it in? No, it's not. The layup is there, but the defense is that much stronger. Now all three of these players desperately trying to get that ball in, but Cosmico say no.
And that's one of the best looks that Def Cloud have had this time. Cosmico were on their last leg. All three players had their attempt on net, but still we remain scoreless here. That demo's gonna come out from Domino, disrupting the play a little bit. We're gonna slow down for a moment. Ford Hilux getting a crucial touch there to deny that. Tristan pops this high. Domino up to try to reach that one, not able to connect. Neither is Flosi, and this allows Cosmico to breathe a sigh of relief, but for how much longer? Here comes Jalen looking for the double. It doesn't connect. Flosi follow up, and Def Cloud keep getting these looks, and they just can't put them away.
But Cosmico get very close there. Unfortunately, just that little bit arrive, and finally with the entirety of Cosmico in Death Cloud's half, they race across the pitch, and Flossie lands it straight into the net there. We finally have our first goal with less than a minute remaining on the clock here. Now Cosmico gonna need to see a little bit of that tenacity we saw earlier on, and very quickly they have control, but Jalen snakes it back.
That first game was all Cosmico, but it looks like Def Cloud have been the ones controlling the tempo for the most part here. They are up. Have to play a nice game of keep away for these remaining seconds. Maybe finding another one there for Flosi. Will be stuffed away back into the corner. Cosmico scrambling around here, trying to get themselves back onto offense. Two have to commit. Tristan tries to play that forward. It will drop into the hands of Ford Hilux, and Flosi just clears us out. Final seconds ticking away. Can Cosmico here on their final attack take us into overtime, or is it going to end here? Ball needs to touch the ground now for Def Cloud. It is kept up by Tristan, bouncing into the middle. Flosi's controlling it. Oh, we're still there. It hasn't hit just yet. Def Cloud scramble, and finally they find some relief.
Holy, I love how in overtime, the game, it goes from soccer to volleyball. Now it's not about getting it in the net, it's getting it to ground as quickly as possible. You could even see the Death Cloud were trying really hard to kind of delay and stall as far as possible. You know, it stopped being about getting a goal, and it was more about making sure that Cosmico couldn't get that goal, and to make sure that when the time did tick down, they were in a position to get the ball to ground. So well done. A 7-5 game one and a 1-0 game two. Are you kidding me? Just ridiculously closely contested, and a much better performance from Death Cloud. You know, some really, really solid coordination there. We were talking about that pressure, and this time it was all them. They were living in Cosmico's half, and it was just a matter of time before they could finally sink that goal.
Yeah, they really are just giving us every type of Rocket League we could ask for. We got high scoring, we've gotten flashy goals, and then we've gotten nail biters into the final 0 seconds. But you have to love that bounce back there for Def Cloud. You know, it is tough going down that first game, but to be able to compose yourself, regain, and then come back and take the second one, it's a very good look.
And hopefully they can continue along with that trajectory, right? You know, maybe now we kind of swing in the opposite direction. We get Death Cloud with a crazy strong game for themselves in game number 3. Remember, folks, we still do have 2 games ahead of us. It's not a best of 3, and I know the overlay says best of 4, but it's a full 4-match set. So with 2 done and dusted, and it with being a little bit of a even kilter, we've also just had word that there's been a player pause request. So perhaps a moment of respite, just to kind of gather your thoughts a little bit here, right? Like that first map, how crazy it was, and I, you know, you could call it a little chaotic, but the second one, a lot more kind of controlled as opposed to what we saw earlier. I will say it does look like it's a bit of a tech issue, so we'll try and get that squared out as quickly as possible. You know, when the stakes are this high, it's game 1, it's the first day of the season. You don't want to be going out on a tech issue, so hopefully we can get that squared away quickly.
Yeah, we want it to be as competitively fair as possible. But hey, on the bright side, every Rocket League stream do have drops on, so it's just more time to get some more cosmetics for your cars in the meantime. But yeah, one thing I do want to point out there in that second game was the performance of Flosi. I mean, Flosie's a name that I recognize in this region. I've seen them around multiple times, and it really seemed like they stepped up to plate that time because, I mean, the one goal of the game was Flosie. It was on a very important touch to get it around that last Cosmico defender, but I just saw them all over the pitch. Anytime that Cosmico tried to get some sort of an advance, Flosie was there on the case to meet them.
Yeah, I think that Flosie, like in general, has been a big proponent, even as like a supportive player, even when they're not necessarily getting those the goals per se, but just kind of being in the right place at the right time to make sure that you kind of, I mean, those last couple of goals in the first game was all Jalen all day, but Flosie was never far behind, always kind of in the vicinity and making sure that, you know, things were going the way that they needed to. And this is what I was mentioning a little bit earlier on. You know, they were on Ostrom last year and they came third in Elite. So, I mean, this is, and obviously this is somebody that the community knows, somebody that's been competing for a while. So that's the kind of caliber that you're expecting, right? That not just that leadership, but the ability to kind of put your money where your mouth is, to lead by example.
Well, leading by example, he hasn't. We see in the Twitch chat, Space Crips mentioning that if Flosie wins RSC, he'll get a Death Cloud cap. So a bit more motivation to play for here. Already behind the ball, taking us onto the Cosmico side of the pitch. It does require all of Death Cloud to commit, and Flosie there able to safely put this one aside. But Cosmico, they haven't given up yet. They have been unrelenting on some of their offensive looks, so they're right back on the case.
Continuing to just keep that kind of back and forth momentum at the moment. The seesaw just up and down, and no one really garnering too much space here. Again, we're kind of living in enemy territory. Death Cloud seem to have a lot of the control here, and Cosmico feels like they kind of have to put in that little bit extra. Finally, they'll get the ball into their own half, but no, quickly intercepted here. Death Cloud not allowing them to have that control for longer than just a few moments, where we're getting dangerously close to the goal now, but there's no one there for that follow-up. Perhaps a communication thing, perhaps just, you know, the chaos of the game, the high-octane action, but there wasn't anyone there for the follow-up. This time, however, they're very close, but it's all about stopping that ball from going in, and Death Cloud continue to keep that pressure up. But oh, that looked like an opening, but Domino was right there and stopped that ball from moving towards their goal.
We're kind of seeing this here from both sides, playing that third man back just a little bit further. You don't want to give up those openings, because that's what has cost both of these teams a game so far in this 4-game series. Cosmico trying to clear out of their own side of the pitch. Flosie's just going to push them right back in, keep this offense moving along, gets a pass over to the midfield. Forward Hilux, crucial touch there to deny the shot that was imminent. Trying to get this back upfield there. Ryan plays us here over to Jalen, breaks this up. Flosie, can he get to it in the foot race against Fort Hilux? He will win it out. There's a quick shot from Jalen. Oh, it bounces up and out of the post. Ryan has no boost. And with that, Flosie will respond. And I mean, oh, you have to hate that ping, but way to stay in the play.
That's beautiful as well, man. Trying so hard for that first one. And again, with two players so close there, able to kind of lay up off of himself and allow that goal to come through here. Just under 3 minutes remaining. So a little bit faster than what we saw in that second game of the evening. But how much follow-up is there going to be now? We go back to the kind of poking and prodding a little bit, feeling out the momentum ever so slightly. That being said, the pressure unrelenting for even a moment. And most of Cosmico just chilling towards the goalpost. They know they cannot allow anything to move forward with, move through them. They get the ball all the way to the other side of the court, but there's the problem with having everyone on one side. There's no one to follow it up. The control is given straight back over, and Jalen threads the needle for the second goal of the game.
Oh, and it's all three players once again involved there for Death Cloud. You see Flosie taking us there. It is popped up by Domino, and Jalen follows it all the way home. And now 2 goals up here. We are under that halfway mark of the game, but still time here for Cosmico to respond. They need to find some of that offense that they established in game number 1. Tristan's going to be first to maybe find a case for it. Fort Hilux won't be able to get a touch there. It is forced in, but instantly another battle of tennis ensues here on the midfield.
Managing to garner too much, but Cosmico at least managing to hold on to a bit more of that control and kind of keeping the ball under their control. They're not in the half they want to be in, but they maintain holding on, so it allows them to get closer and closer. But Domino snakes that away, passes the ball back on over, so now they can regain that, try to move it back over towards the other half. And there we go, interceptions in the sky once again. Domino has been a great force for those intercepts, not so much on the goals, but certainly with denying that kind of airspace and bringing it back into their team's control. Now Cosmico again with control of the ball, but the demo comes through, and that's going to give a moment of respite here for Deathcloud. 1 minute remaining. Cosmico definitely on the back foot. Once again, back into the right half, but can they follow up on that? Jalen has control again, and he is a dangerous one to have control of the ball, but will intercept again. No one there really to follow it up. Forward Hilux trying desperately to get into position, and the best that he can do is just kind of tap on it. Can't really get a good direction on it, and the rest of Deathcloud are there ready and waiting. They've snaked it back. The Demolition once again, just keeping those cars off the field, trying to create that little bit of space. Finally, Cosmico so dangerously close with 30 seconds left, but Deathcloud unrelenting, not giving up on that pressure. And again, they're just going to try to play out this time. It's now a game of volleyball, folks. So we're close to the game of volleyball in any event. Just 15 seconds remaining. Cosmico, can they get this final goal as that time slowly trips away from them? And Deathcloud just have to maintain control of the ball, but they've lost it. It's Cosmico now that have it in hand, but with just 2 seconds remaining. If the ball touches the ground, it's all over. They're going to be able to hold on. No, they cannot. And it's Deathcloud who walk away with game number 3.
For Deathcloud, a very strong performance there, following up a second game in a row. They have at least secured a tie here in this series. One more and they win it. Cosmico not looking like themselves, and we can kind of see there. Look at the scoring across the line. It really felt like they were just out of rhythm, and I think it's because they went down early. They tried to play back into it, and we kept seeing them double commit, or they had somebody just too close behind one of their other teammates, and it didn't give them that rotational space that they were so good at controlling in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely shows a weird change-up. They looked a lot more coordinated between the 3 of them in game number 1, but that also does kind of beg the question, you know, maybe Deathcloud just weren't ready for that first game, and they looked that little bit worse, and it made Cosmico look that little bit better. You get to the first game. First game's a warm-up, as we say in some other esports titles, and then you get into game number 2 and 3, and you're ready to go, and you just kind of keep that pressure up consistently. No, it's not one of these another one of these like crazy high scoring games, but you're kind of consistently being pressurized. And I do just want to say, so Flosi had something like 44 touches in that game. Just like consistently on the ball all the time, always there, being that kind of pressure point. And I was saying, right, Domino being that kind of air support as well, being a little bit more of an assister. The teamwork between these 3 has been something to behold. But now Cosmico trying to get an early goal right off the bat. But again, Deathcloud, that pressure continues to mount.
Well, every game does matter here over in the RSC. Don't give up now if you're Cosmico. You have a chance to tie this, and that one game could be the difference of making playoffs or play-ins. For now, they'll have a good look to start things off. The first 30 seconds going in their favor. Tristan has to beat this around 2. The touch will be more in his favor. Flosi, though, trying to clear us out. Ryan, though, quick on his tail. Flosi pops us in. Tristan. And that is something that Cosmico were doing really well, was kind of controlling that mid line, not allowing the ball to get passed into their own side of the pitch. And if they can resume that, they have a really good chance of being able to secure this one.
Oh, so far, it's been a lot of kind of return serves from Cosmico, just trying to keep up that defensive line as far as possible. They've gotten the ball right close to that to the posts, but no one there to follow it up once again. However, they are there to defend the line, and for now, maybe defense is the name of the game, but we're going to put in a little bit of that offense now. Oh, it's so close, but it bounces straight off the posts. No one there really for the layup. Ryan tries to get it closer, back into contention for Ford Hilux, but not really getting the angles that they want. The layup is there, but again, no one to follow through, unfortunately. And so Death Cloud give themselves a stay of execution that little bit longer here. Cosmico continuing to maintain control of the ball, but the ball's on the wrong side of the field. They need to move it back to the other.
Ford Hilux looking to respond, that veteran presence we were talking about. Can he will Cosmico back into this? They're going to need everything that they can. Domino looking for Jalen there, intercepted in the midfield. Flossie around one, leaves it here for Jalen, and Jalen takes full advantage with that touch. Gets it past the last Cosmico defender, and Death Cloud right back into the regularly scheduled program of scoring.
Rough, man. It felt like Ford Hilux was just in the right place, but no. Snakes over his head, and once again, with just under 3 minutes, Death Cloud managed to get that first goal of the game. Remember, folks, this is the last game of the series, and it's currently 2-1 in favor of Death Cloud. So for Cosmico, this is kind of a do-or-die scenario. They need to get themselves back into this somewhat, and we do have some control here, but Flossie, again, being a little bit of a rock star there, gets the ball as far away from their post as humanly possible, gives them a little bit of room to breathe. They've handed it over to Jalen, almost goes through, but a nice save there from Ryan stops it from being a disastrous scenario. Now Cosmico to return.
What a hustle there from Ryan as well. I surely thought that Cosmico gave up another open net there, but not giving up on this series just yet. Fighting tooth and nail. There's an opening there for Ford Hilux, but Jalen back in the nick of time keeps Death Cloud in the lead. Pole position now as we approach the final 2 minutes of this final game. Death Cloud, good look of offense here. Ford Hilux with Ryan will navigate into the midfield, instantly pushed back in by Flossie. Jalen was there patiently waiting for it as well. The Cosmico, they need something now. They need to find their second wind if they can.
These continuous saves from Death Cloud, and some of them kind of by the skin of their teeth as well, but continuing to somehow staunch that bleeding, or what looks like it could become bleeding, just blocking and parrying and not allowing any of those cuts to make their way through here. And of course, again, for them now, it's, oh my God, I was about to say it's a defensive line, but no, Jalen, there is no defending here. There is only finding the chinks in the armor, driving that sword straight through. That was nuts as well. Like the fact that he just kind of flies straight between the ball and Jalen, and it just goes straight into the nets.
Yeah, it was just absolute movie timing there for Jalen to be able to take that one all the way through, increasing that cushion here for Death Cloud. But wait a minute, Cosmico, it's been a long time since they've gotten one in the net, but with their hopes of tying the series on the line, Ryan does get them back within one.
A very quick one right off the whistle as well, and that's exactly what you want. You want as much time as possible to get yourselves that second goal, and with a minute left, it is certainly doable. But this is now, it's not the time to get complacent. We brought it down to a one-round deficit, but we need to just keep pushing as far as possible. And again, Death Cloud now have control of the ball. We're so close to another goal here, and the rest of Death Cloud trying desperately to kind of body block. No! Oh, that looked dangerously like an own goal, but I think it was just an attempt to try to block it, and the attempt failed. Yes, it went straight, it kind of bounced off. Look at that. It really does look like an own goal, but it was set up so beautifully by Domino. Death Cloud up to 3.
Oh, and that touch was just so delicate, but it had enough behind it to make it awkward there on the goal line, unable to get it out. 2 Death Cloud players go for this one. It's a slam dunk from Jalen, though, and that might be the nail in the coffin.
Jalen is the GOAT. Jalen might just be the GOAT of Elite. I know it's like the first game of the season, but Good Lord, what an absolute demon so far in the server. Unrelenting. No one can find the chinks in this man's armor. But now Cosmico with their backs against the wall and 30 seconds remaining. It's going to take nigh on a miracle to make this happen. We're going to need a really quick goal here with some really quick follow-up. And Deathcloud's defense has been really strong the whole way through this evening. And that continues to be the case. Unrelenting. Cosmico now in control of the ball, but they need to move it back over towards the other half, towards that goal. And Flosi continuing to be just that thorn, that irritation in their side. 10 seconds remaining as Deathcloud keep that pressure up. 3 lonely seconds, and now it's volleyball. We're back into volleyball. We got to get that ball to ground. Oh, but Ford Hilux not willing to let that happen just yet. Now all Deathcloud need to do is tap it down, and tap it they have. 4-1 in our final game in the series. Deathcloud walking away with a 3-1 victory after what looked like an unlikely loss in the first game.
And it's just such an amazing performance there from Deathcloud. You know, that first game definitely caught off guard, but the rest of the series, it was all them. Jalen with a hat trick there to secure the Deathcloud win of the series. And what a game that we got treated with for the very first stream here of season number 4.
Absolutely. And yeah, I believe Rhino is waiting in the wings here to kind of bring things home for that series. And yeah, Rhino, what did you think of the series?
To be honest, both are correct. You're not wrong with either. So
nice.
Good guess. But yeah, I mean, what a series that was to kick things off. We got treated to one of the best game ones of a start to a season maybe ever, with a 7-5 victory for Cosmico. And then in the end, it was all Deathcloud. And in the end, Cosmico got ponded. I do want to chat to both of you for a moment. We'll go to Borky first. In the end, Deathcloud scored double the number of goals that Cosmico did, 12-6 across the series. Was their offense that much better?
Yeah, but I don't know if I mean, Deathcloud's defense looked phenomenal, and what they were able to do is produce these quick counterattacks, which got them ahead in the game. And then it kind of just looked like, I don't want to speak for the players, but Cosmico was left scrambling. Whenever you're playing down in Rocket League, you always have that irritation in the back of your head saying like, oh, we have to score now. And we kept seeing these overcommits, or that third man just coming up too far forward, and Deathcloud every time took advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to change strategy a little bit for this one, because let's talk about Jalen for a moment. What an absolutely outstanding performance to start off the season. I mean, he was everywhere, did everything for Deathcloud.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did talk a little bit about Flosi and a little bit about Domino, and obviously what they brought to the table for Flosi, it was just kind of unrelenting pressure. For Domino, it was really that kind of supportive position and being in the right place at the right time. But Jalen, so good at finding those layups and kind of driving it home, so good at closing it out. And that really does kind of bring into essence what that teamwork is all about. You can look at Jalen's score and you can go, oh yeah, best player ever. But without the hard work and support of the rest of the team, that doesn't come to fruition. And so I think that that's the big defining factor here, is the fact that they worked so well together.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Will it make it work for Deathcloud this season, though? That's the question. Thank you both to Borky and Nauri for joining us on the cast. We're going to let you guys go. We're going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for casting the first game of RSC Season 4. So you're stuck with me. There it is. Deathcloud take home game number 1 of the season. They do so in a 3-1 fashion against Cosmico. 2 of the big hitters as far as the organizations go here in RSC SSA for the season. But at the end of the day, it was going to be won by Deathcloud. Even after that outstanding game number 1 from Cosmico, 7-5, 12 goals in the first game. Absolutely love to see it. So we're now in the moment of switching between games. We will be bringing you the second game of the night in just a moment. But before we do that, we do have to remind everybody that this is a really good opportunity to take a moment for yourself and go and buy yourself a crate of Slayer Energy. Of course, every crate that you do buy will go towards the prize pool for RSC SSA, and you can go over to that QR code over in the corner over there and just scan that, buy yourself a crate, and put 50 Rand into the prize pool for RSC SSA Season 4. What an amazing opportunity that is for all of you. And you know what? You've not got very long to do that, because I understand that we do have this game number 2 about ready to go, and I am so thrilled to be bringing you the casters for that next game. Let's get them in. It's Dutch and Sir Pegasus, 2 big names here in the community. So excited to have them both on. Gonna come to you, Dutch, first. How you doing this evening?
It's a return for a very long time. I haven't been here, but oh man, I'm so stoked to be back in the scene, man. Rhino, it's good to see you again. And so Pegasus, I look forward to casting alongside you. It's been about 2 years since I've been in the scene, so I'm looking forward to some action, man.
And Pegasus, I mean, this is your first experience with SSA, but a stalwart, a bit of a part of the furniture in RSC EU. Are you excited to make the jump?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been following the RLCS. I was alongside Borky for Unity for the entirety of this season. I covered them as well in those previous. So, you know, I've got my teams I support. I've got my rivalries. I'm looking at you, White Rabbit Gaming. And yes, that does mean my co-caster as well. But it's an absolute pleasure to be alongside you after that break for this experience. And I just feel like that's kind of poetic that that's how it would have to start.
Oh, very much so. Thrilled to have you both on for sure. And especially for this game, which is a very interesting one indeed. We started with 2 very well-known, very big organizations in the scene. We now go to 2 lesser-known orgs that people might not have heard about before joining RSC this season. But trust me, they are here to compete with the big boys. It's Omnius taking on Azura in rival tier. Dutch, it's been 2 years, but you are officially back. Talk to me about what rival tier means as far as SSA RSC goes.
Well, I mean, rival tier is kind of where stars are born, right? That's where you start getting picked up for you know, future stars. That's where you start looking for players for potential RLCS rosters. They move up into elite, and then of course once they hit master, then you know they're ready for it. But I mean, yeah, rival is where it kind of begins. Prospect is those sort of players that are like feeling out the game or just don't play as serious. Rival is where it does start getting serious. And these players, I'm pretty sure if we're looking at these lineups, they are going to go hard and they're going to go fast, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We're expecting a high tempo. Just quickly, before I leave you two to it, I do want to come to Sir Pegasus, because these 2 played in pre-season Omnius Forge versus Azura Nightshade, and I think you've been having a little bit look into the history between these 2 sides.
Absolutely. It was quite lucky that they were able to play against each other in the very same group in pre-season, and one of these teams got their one and only series win for the entirety of that stage of the season. So already we can see there's a little bit of a rivalry here between these 2, I guess you could say, new kids on the block for RSC SSA, and that first point has gone to Omnius Forge. It was a 3-1 victory, a very high scoring affair, with I believe game 1's 2-1 thriller being the lowest scoring game out of the 4 they did play. Past that, you were going above the 5 marks there. So I'm hoping that that does return. I've seen a little bit of a change in the rosters as well, surprisingly, with most of the changes coming from Omnius. So this could be a very different kind of game in terms of their gameplay, but if it is anything similar or something completely new, it essentially guarantees that we're in for a ride for this final series of the day.
Well, it's a change in rosters, but the goals are the same. Your second and final game of the evening tonight in RSC SSA Season 4 comes to you from the rival tier. It's Omnius Forge versus Azura Nightshade. Take it away, gents.
Well, it's been such a quick day of Rocket League, but to make up for it, we have certainly seen quality. Myself and Dutch got to feast our eyes on that first series. Fair play as well to the casters as well for giving us that coverage. However, I feel like one of them will now be watching as an eager spectator as their own organization does try to get a little bit of revenge. So I'm really excited for when this game does get underway.
100%. I mean, and it's big shoes to fill after going after Sam and Borky. I mean, those are two pretty pro casters at this stage, and then they go and put on a noob like me that hasn't been here for 2 years. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this game. I mean, it's the first rival game of the season. It's a long season, of course. It's going to be 9 weeks long. So, I mean, this is the first real taste that these guys are going to have to really see what the opponents are about. I have played a bit against most of these players, so I know their qualities. You can expect on the Omnia side, on the team of Forge, I mean, that is a pretty mechanical team right there. And they've been playing well in preseason as well. We scrimmed them a few times as a WRG team, and yeah, I mean, both these teams they are looking pretty solid to start.
But I'm going to keep my eyes out there. We might have some goals for the socials then if those mechanics really do come out from that side of a pitch. However, on Azura, this is the team that has actually stayed closer to how true they were in preseason. Panda and Divine have remained on the roster, with Panda both taking that captaincy role as AGM of the roster. So I'm hoping to see him lead on the pitch as well if he hasn't benched himself for the opening series of the entire season. And I want to see that skipper take charge and show the rest how it is done. Kickoff for game one, ladies and gentlemen. Questions to be answered. Who's the new kid on the block? And does pre-season results truly matter?
Right, here we go. And I mean, we started off with a bit of a bang here, straight off of the kickoff. We are in one side of the field, but now we are finally starting to see a little bit of open play. So Divine is taking this to the sidewall, trying to create opportunity here. Leaves the ball there for Silver, plays it off the backboard, and that gets cleared up by Luna. I mean, it has been 30 seconds, but it's already been end to end.
And we've also got the GM playing on that Azura side. So GM and AGM connection here are guaranteed onto the roster. No tryouts required. So that's going to be a lot of pressure on their backs as well for their franchise standings to try and pick up a few wins in this division and see themselves, of course, climbing up the table. This ball, though, drops out favourably for Ominous. And that'll be Luna to take the first goal of the series.
That is a brilliant way to start your rival campaign. Beautiful pass through the middle there, and then a great finish. Straight through the middle, not always expected by that third player. And man, oh man, that just went straight in. And immediately we are back on the front foot here. Luckily, that got defended off there, and Divine takes it up the sidewall once again, is trying to get that first goal for his team. Silver is up, it hits the post, Panda just misses. And now it does seem like we do have a bit of a counter-attack here. Apparently, Dr. Phil goes up, but gets beaten to the ball by Divine. Man, oh man, this ball is pinging across the field, isn't it?
It really is, and Divine has been that player consistently to sweep the ball forward for them. That's a shot on, saved by Luna. And now pressure on Silver, that 50 not quite landing in his favor. Two players, though, sitting right on behind just to drop down on that goal line. Keep it safe if the ball beats through, but Divine alone as that first man. Didn't need his teammates behind him for defense. Now call to action for offense as Silver grabs the equal goal here for Azura. And we can already tell that this is going to be like that match in pre-season. High scoring, high octane, and exactly the game you want to see on stream.
It's a perfect response there, isn't it, from the Nightshade boys? I mean, they were behind quite early, but they responded in decent fashion. And I mean, it's really tough to call which way this is going to go, because both these teams have had a similar approach to start off with. Not too aggressive, not too passive. They're just trying to feel each other out. Obviously, it's game number one, and there are 4 games to play. So game one is generally the one where we try, but apparently Dr. Phil doesn't need to try. He just slams it in the top corner. 116 kph. I mean, this is a banger of a goal.
A little bit of a pinch of the opponent as well. You've got to use every single material to your favor, whether that's the surface of the pitch or your opponent's Fennec or Octane. It all counts here, ladies and gentlemen. And now Azura are going to have to chase back from behind, looking to do it in immediate fashion. Panda from halfway, essentially coast to coast, immediately nullifies the hard work of Omnius.
So Pegasus, we haven't even had half the game and it's already 4 goals. Who knows where this is going to end up? But once again, a great response here from the boys of Nightshade. And again, it is locked in the middle. 2-2, just about half a game to go. Now we see Dr. Phil going up. We see Silver quickly blocking that off. Panda's trying to keep the player active. Divine is up in the midfield. He tries to play it to the sidewall, and now it does seem to be a bit of a midfield battle. We see Luna's going up for the flip. We said hits on the backboard, just no opportunity there for a double tap. And it seems like the defense is going to hold out for now.
They've been able to keep their cool here. You're not seeing too many boom balls forward in their own box. They're still willing to pass that ball around. They don't have much faith in that second man press on that opposing side. And when you do have that confidence, you are somewhat playing with fire. But so far, this really hasn't been a team afraid to get burned. So that demo from Fatty Meets Patty will certainly slow down the counter.
Yeah, it is a really difficult balance to find in these sort of games where you want to be just enough aggressive to try and get those goals, but you also don't want to send all your team forward and risk that counter attack. So, I mean, it's a pretty well-balanced game so far. Both teams are just going for it. They're playing calmly but aggressively. They're all rotating properly. There hasn't been too many double commits or anything like that. Like, every player knows exactly what they need to do, and they're doing it well. Still 2-2 locked in the middle with 1:30 to go.
And I've enjoyed the pressure that both teams have been able to maintain as soon as they get that space in the final third. You're not seeing a lot of ping-pong Rocket Leagues and back-and-forth action. Instead, you're seeing a lot of passages of about 30 to 45 seconds where it's constant shots on net. The defense has to be on their best behavior, and if they want to escape, it's always required just that extra bit of calm or effort. Here's some shown here by Luna, but I think the halfway line was Silver, ball across, and Dr. Phil will tend to that wound.
We have just 1 minute left. There is a little bit of offensive play here from Nightshade. They are trying to keep the ball in the attacking half. Divine is trying to play that back in the middle, but it just gets picked off by Luna. And now we see that Forge is trying to make a move forward. Fatty Meet Fatty in the air, trying to play it off the sidewall, plays it with apparently Drill, and this ball is still sort of going side to side, but as the timer ticks down, you see these players are starting to take fewer risks. They are starting to play a little bit more passive, trying to make sure that they are not the one to concede next, as that goal could be the decider. Silver is up here. He goes on the backboard. Is their third player? There he is! But it gets blocked brilliantly by apparently Drill. Now we have a 3v1 situation. They play it to the middle, but the defense from Panda is on point. Now, we are just about 10 seconds left. This ball is pinging from side to side. Do we have overtime in game number 1? It does seem to look to go that way. However, Panda, last-ditch attempt here to keep it up. Apparently, Draw plays it to the sidewall. This does look like it might go to overtime. The defense, again, is on point. Fatty Meet Fatty plays it to the middle. And we do have overtime in game 1.
And as much as this feels like it could be a game that lasts for eternity, eventually someone's going to have that moment of madness that might have been it there. The double commits straight off the kickoff will give Omnius the first game victory. And I was just about to compliment both sides on their defensive prowess. Their organization is what has held the offense and locked down the defense for what was essentially 3 minutes straight in regulation. But I guess, Dutch, that is sometimes how the cookie crumbles. One moment to make the difference in this beautiful game of Rocket League.
Oh man, I mean, that game was so super close, and it could have gone either way, but Forge just got lucky off of that kickoff, and apparently Dr. Phil, as I've been corrected in chat, is not apparently Drill. I've been mixing those two names up, but man oh man, what a game to start with in the rival tier. A 3-2 as close as they get sort of game, and the defense was decent on both sides. However, it does seem that there were only saves on the Forge team, whereas Nightshade had no saves. That just means they played their midfield game really, really well. But I mean, we had 8 attempts from Nightshade and 5 attempts from Forge, so it was mostly a midfield battle. But man, oh man, what a first game.
I love games like that that are very focused in the midfield. It almost feels like you're playing this game of hyper chess. You can have multiple moves at once, but if your other team is able to keep up with you, which for a majority of the game, hence the overtime, they were, it all has to be perfect. It's a physics-based game. You're a few Unreal units off. All of a sudden, that ball's in the back of your net. Maybe your VC lags. Maybe you lose that sense of communication. You've got to keep focused, but you've still got to stay in tune. It's so much to focus on at once. But Overtime comes, the pressure increases, your heart is beating like crazy, Dutch, and then it's that one slip of the left stick that's going to put that game to an end. And all of a sudden, this little break between game 1 and game 2 gets tough if your teammates can't bring you up.
Oh, 100%. And as you say, it's that one minute little moment that can make the biggest of differences. And I mean, as I said during the game, the further it went, the more tense you felt like it was on the field. The players were taking less and less risks. They were trying to play more as a unit, trying to make sure they are not the one to concede. And yeah, like you said, one little slip up and it cost them a game. However, there are still 3 games left, and there's plenty of opportunity here to turn it around. I mean, just going by that first game, I don't see this being a 4-0 or even a 3-1. I'm feeling a 2-2 right now, but I mean, I could be corrected at any moment.
Oh, a 2-2, I feel like it gets a little bit of a bad rep in RSC. It certainly does over in EU, but if it's a series like this where it isn't 2 heavy-handed games for one team and 2 heavy-handed games for the other, and you have this consistent close affair, I feel like they end up always being really underrated. That's why you've got to stick to these broadcasts. You've got to make sure you're following the channel, because if you're just looking at that on the database, you're not going to know that full story. And we still don't know the full story for the rest of this series. There are going to be questions towards Forge Omnius if they are going to be able to get their mental straight after what was, I feel like, a little bit of an anticlimactic overtime on their end.
Yeah, 100%. And we have just received word that we do have a little bit of a tech pause. It does seem like there was an issue with the overlay. You have to bear with us, guys. It is game week 1 of the new season, so there's always something that can go wrong. But the guys on the background are doing their very best to get the production back up and running. But I mean, just what we have so far and where RSC started to where it is now. I mean, can you believe how much this has improved and how sexy the stream is looking? I'm not even gonna lie about it. I mean, this is any caster's or any producer's dream. I mean, this looks amazing, so Pegasus.
Listen, I'm happy we can get away with calling it sexy, because that's the first word that comes to my mind. The rest I certainly cannot say on stream, but it is potentially the most gorgeous overlay from any tournaments running at the moment. I'm not just talking SSA, I'm talking Europe as well. I feel like it is truly only rivaled by RSC EU. There's just something about the branding. There's something about that community behind it that knows how to make banging productions. And we mustn't forget either, Dutch. Rhino was talking about it earlier. There is a LAN getting prepared to happen as well. So it's not just fancy graphics. It's not, of course, our amazing sponsors as well throwing in their support for this wonderful league and this developing region. We've also got places to really bring the community together and up the ante even more. And you can see there on the right side of your screen, 34 cases solved. Scan those to get another, I must say. I got a little bit of jealousy over here in the UK.
I mean, it is a beautiful thought to see that that Slayer is giving us that prize pool, but the fact that it is already at the amount that it is, and that is purely just from the amount of sales, it just shows that this community has really pulled out all the stops to make this the best tournament available in SSA. And indeed, I don't want to take away too much from what Rhino has to tell about the LAN. That's his job, but yes, it is going to be a banger. And I look forward to being part of that. We have a whole team in the background working on it. So watch this space, because this LAN is going to be insane. We are still waiting for this game to get underway. I'm not quite sure exactly how long it's going to be, but in the meantime, I mean, you're just going to get these two faces waffling at you as long as we can, Mr. Pegasus. I mean, this is what casters do, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's my job, right? You've got to sit here, you've got to yap, and I know you'd much rather be seeing the gameplay, but it's fine. You get yourself a post-it note. You can cover the right side of your screen. The real beauty on the screen here, Dutch, can be all your eyes can feast on. I believe you can zoom in as well if you're on a mobile device. But I must say, it's glad to see you back in the action. And I must say, what a first game to come back for as well.
100%, and that first game, I'm still buzzing with how close that was, and I really hope, for the player's sake and for the viewer's sake, that it stays that close and that it doesn't just veer one way. I mean, what I was missing a little bit is perhaps a little bit more offensive play, maybe a couple demos here and there. Trying to make that first man run after you make your play to be a bit of chaos in the box and try and open up the play a little bit. But again, it was 3-2, so it is super close.
And it felt interesting seeing those teams almost play super defensive for each other, and that's why you see so many balls just hitting those backboards, having to be passed around in amongst their own box. And whilst some of these long balls were attempted, that's when you saw some teams defend that halfway line like it was their goal, but it was just about that final killer pass once they'd passed their own third, that central space, and really got into enemy territory. I feel like that's when the nervousness started to kick in, and I mean, you can't blame the players that much. I've competed as well in the RSC. I know how those week ones can truly feel, even though there are some shared teammates from preseason. These are the first games that really count, and if you want to add to that pressure, why not have it on an excellent broadcast as well when everyone's watching, and that can really create that safer play style.
Welcome back, Rhino.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Are you very well? Of course, we do apologize. We have got some slight tech issues that we are working on in the background. I know Pegasus and Dutch, they've been talking all sorts of incredible insight about that game number one, and we appreciate the both of you for doing so. We will get that game back to you as soon as we possibly can. But boys, we are in this situation. It is what it is, and it gives us a perfect opportunity to talk about the RSC season as a whole. We're in week one right now, Dutch. Things are getting underway. Things are getting figured out, but there is so much RSC still to play this season, and that excites not just me, not just you guys, but everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as I said at the beginning, the season is long. 9 weeks long is it's not to be underestimated. And you'd be a fool if you had to judge any of these teams just on their performance in game week one. I mean, all these teams, they have so much time to get better, to get their coaching in, to get their practice in, their scrims, and you'll see that throughout the season, every team will improve and get better. It's just a matter of who gets better the fastest and who is the best at the end of it. And that is the beauty of RSC, is that you get to watch so many teams compete in so many different tiers. And you get to see everyone, and not just the pro players, not just the good players, but also the guys who just love the game. So everyone that plays Rocket League is included, and that is the most amazing thing for me about this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great space to explore this wonderful esport. Pegasus, you mentioned just a moment ago that, of course, you've got a lot of experience playing in the RSC, certainly in EU. And something I often find about an RSC season is you kind of go from very calm and collected at the start, and you just gain more and more panics towards the end. So would you say the players at the moment, they are feeling like it's just a feeling out process? It's the start of the season. You can't put too much stock into a week one result, can you?
Absolutely. You throw those out pretty early, it feels like, in RSC, but I feel like where a lot of teams especially struggle is where to eventually change their mentality and say, okay, it's getting crunch time now. The table's getting a little bit concerning. We need to lock in. But RSC SSA, I believe, is only a single round robin compared to the double round robin we have in RSC or U, and you only play one match per week. So it's actually harder to have that same idea over here in SSA. There is so much more importance in every single game.
Yeah, there certainly is. Well, speaking of games, we finally have ours ready to go again. So I'm going to leave you back to the casters, and we'll get those remaining 3 games of this series for you now.
And well, I'm excited for this upcoming matchup. It's been quite a wait, Dutch, but I'm ready. I'm so ready.
we are so ready. I mean, we've been waiting quite a bit, and I mean, it's been fun just chatting with you and a little bit with our host, of course. But man, oh man, we're gonna get back to the action. Game number 2. It is going to be, of course, game 2 of 4. So we still have a bit of a way to go. But if game 1, excuse me, is anything to go by, this should be a cracker.
Absolutely, and game 2 is underway, and we get to see that gorgeous overlay on our screens as well. There's a little smiley face under Omnia. Selby feeling really happy right now. because the opening goal will go to their side. It's a wonderful kickoff and a little bit of awkwardness there on the corner from the Azura defender. But you take them as they come. That's a head start for the Mean Green Machine.
What a start there, and a beautiful delivery there from the Doctor, supporting his team from the top left corner. And it does look like they might just do the same thing here. Luna takes a shot, and it is 2-0 within 15 seconds. I mean, Forge have come out to play. Patty Meat Patty plays it off the backboard, knows that he's not going to get quite a shot on target, and his teammate is just there to finish it off. Luna with 2 goals, Forge with 2 goals, and plenty of time to go.
Well, I've just had to roll my head there at the amount of whiplash I just got between these 2 games. I mean, we are straight back into the action, and this is certainly not like how Game 1 played out. Omnius are here with that little bit of drive, that extra bit of fire about them, and Azura are just simply getting burned. Divine will look to try and take this one across, and whilst I was talking about a more defensive matchup in that first game, Omnius have really turned that one around. They've got that 3rd man sitting right on that halfway line, always available as that 2nd or 3rd option, depending on where that ball will drop. There you see inside, a ball drops down. They do go for it. It was a little bit ambitious, but they've got that trust in that 2nd man rotating back. This looks like a team that's already played a week of action together when it's only been 1 game.
Absolutely, and if you consider the fact that these guys have only been playing just a few weeks together as in preseason, and of course now this game we've won, it looks like they're a solid team, and they've been having all the pressure. Forge, they've been in the orange half the entire time, but now it does seem like we are finally getting a little bit more balanced in this game. Silver playing this off the halfway line, Panda's ready in the middle. We have 2 defenders here from Forge in the corner, but luckily one of the players pulls out, so we have a bit more rotation. But as you were saying earlier, that offensive rotation from Forge has been the standout. As soon as they are going on offense, you don't see a single player of their team in their own half. They are just rotating halfway line. They are making sure that they are ready for that play coming middle. So now we're coming up to the 3-minute mark. Still plenty of time here for Nightshade to turn things around, but Forge do seem to have the upper hand.
Well, it's rare space here in the green half, and Panda will be looking to make the most of it. That's a heavy clearance out. Catch Silver on that first touch, 50s, falling a little bit awkwardly after that connection. Omnius will just bring that ball forward, and they are just hunting out here for some of these heavy balls that those higher placed players will be able to pick up. And Azura haven't bitten in quite some time. They learned their lesson over those first 30 seconds, but you do get a little bit concerned if it's too little too late, if they can't create any offense of their own.
Yeah, they do seem to be a little bit more comfortable on the ball now. As you saw in the first 30 seconds, they were just being overrun by the opponent. But now it does seem like they have a bit more structure to their play. They're not quite booming the ball away as much, and I mean, it's going to be another 2 minutes of real stress for them trying to get this game back, because the game before it was constantly a 1-goal difference, but this one immediately went to 2-0 deficit, and that mountain just seems a little bit bigger to climb. The next goal has to be for Nightshade here, otherwise it does seem like Forge could take game 2.
It look like your prayers are being answered. That's a lot of offensive space here for Omnius, though. Quickly turned there by a special 2 touches from Divine. And it certainly was some Divine intervention. This ball happening to drop straight onto the corner of his car and into the back of the net. 1 minute 42, just over 100 seconds for Azura to bring back a familiar scoreline.
All right, now it is game on. As I was saying, that next goal has to be for Nightshade, and they delivered. Now, we do see a minute and a half left here, and it seems like Nightshade have picked up a little bit of momentum. We see them a bit more in that purple half, and they are doing their absolute best to try and bring this game back to level, so that we can perhaps even see another overtime, or at least a close closing out of this game, if you will. So now we do see that the Forge team is trying to make this offensive play. They're trying to get that goal back, trying to get that 2-goal cushion back. But the rotation on Nightshade looks decent enough. There's not much boost to go around for Panda. He tries to play that out over the halfway line, though. He does well, but now it is Silver back alone in defense, and he does brilliantly. Do we see a redirect here? Oh, it is just off the backboard. But I mean, the offense is picking up here from Nightshade.
You've got to appreciate the ambition as well of that redirect. They understand now that it is crunch time, and if Omnius do manage to get one more, that could just be the dagger. Challenge there at the right corner. They're looking to cut inside, and Luna will eventually get credited. There's a few hashed reads here, and I guess Luna will be calling it a fake as well to the teammates alongside him. But unfortunately, that will look like a rough day at the office there defensively, but Nightshade still going to keep their heads up high. This has been an improvement from the first minutes.
There is still plenty of time here for Nightshade to get this back. They just need to get that one goal to get that belief back. They've got 20 seconds to do so, but the offense from Forge is unrelenting. They are constantly pushing back. As soon as Nightshade make any sort of play, there's a Forge player to make sure that they don't even get past the halfway line. Now, it does look like we are running out of time here. They need to score now if they want to make anything happen in this game. And it does seem like Forge are just going to try and play this out. The timer is up, the buzzer has gone, and it does look like Forge take game 2.
Once the Forge fires up, prepare to get hammered. Azura did in that second game, and the shooting stats are going to be very against their favor. But one important point to note here, Dutch, is despite all those shots and pressure that Omnius seem to have, if we look outside of those first 30 seconds, they only got that goal in that final minute. So Azura, we've got to give them a little bit of credit here for how they were able to defend and pick themselves up as that game did move on. It was just with that head start they gave away there so early into the game, and as well, we mustn't forget, so quickly after a break. That's what made all the difference. And if they do want to fight for a draw, they've just got to build up off the back of that last performance and realize from a deeper angle that it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seemed like that downtime was put to better use by the Forge captain, keeping his team ready to roll. I mean, they came out with a bang with those first 2 goals. And I mean, props to Omnius here. They played extremely well from the get-go. Nightshade, they did come out and really, you know, try and take back control of the game. They scored that goal and that belief was there. But then, unfortunately, that third game came and it was a little too late. If they came out with the same bang, it could have been a closer game. But again, this is the first game, guys. This is the first series that you're going to play. You've got plenty of time to pick things up.
And you could already see it starting to form a little bit later into that second game where their counterattacks were reaching higher set players. And despite their consistent low boost amounts they were able to maintain in that game, they were able to survive essentially on scrap. So once they get a little bit more aggressive off the ball at these big boosts where Omnius have been given free rein to aggressively pick them up, who knows what this Azura side can pull off. You spoke about the mechanics of Omnius, and I feel like Azura's has been somewhat shut down by the lack in the tank.
Well, as you say that, we do again have the first goal here from Forge. It took a little bit more than 30 seconds this time, but Luna is in the perfect position. The man who can multitask, playing this game and being in chat at the exact same time. 1-0 to Forge in the first 30 seconds.
That's rare you ever see that. A player playing popping up in the Twitch chat as well. That's how we know they're listening, by the way. So any advice, he might be able to pick it up. Some is certainly needed after this kickoff. It was those quick cheats coming forwards, those 50s landing perfectly there for the Azura player. No one waiting behind to grab that goal right back. And well, I guess you would say if this was Sunday League level Rocket League, it's still 0-0, lads. Forget about the past.
I mean, you mentioned a bit of whiplash earlier. I'm so happy we don't play Rocket League in first person, because that kickoff, everyone would have had a bit of whiplash from that ball pinging around in the midfield. But Panda went and scored it, and we do have a 1-1 game. It is looking much more positive here for Nightshade. They have come out with much better structure in the early game compared to game number 2. They are keeping up the offense here. Divine tries to play it to the middle, but it was a good clearance from Luna and Fatty Meat Patty goes on, but Panda gets a sort of clearance on the halfway line, and it just goes straight in. Where is the defense?
Well, it was a double commit at first, and apparently Dr. Phil has decided in that moment to go for the big boost. So as soon as you hear in your comms those two teammates saying they are going for a ball, it is your responsibility to sit back and hold down the fort. Azura have been gifted a second goal. The cracks are beginning to show, but that is what that rival tier is all about. You'll see these moments of brilliance, but then you'll see just a few of these positional errors crop up. This time it's with the color switched.
The doctor strikes. The doctor walked in and said, "Don't worry, patient, I'll fix this." We had a bit of a wobble, but here we are, and now it is back to 2-2. Apparently Dr. Phil with a goal, 2 for Forge, 2 for Nightshade. This is back to that close game that we came to expect from the first one. The second one was a bit worse there for Nightshade, but this is exactly what we want from Rocket D. Close game, more than 3 minutes to go, so this could go either way and any way, but it has been such a good game now. So Panda playing it from the halfway line. It doesn't have much boost. Again, a double commit there from the blue half, but luckily they were not punished this time.
Nazura will be checking the pantry, looking for an apple to get this doctor away, because he has been such a strong force on the side of Omnius, especially when he is in possession. That's going to be another shot on, saved by Panda. It's all up to that second man, but Panda, with the double save, is able to clear into the corner. The second man committing as well will temporarily lower their boost, but they've done well to waste some time, allow themselves to regroup from that double commit beforehand. We are back into regular Rocket League. Ball is cutting inside from that corner, and again that high pressing action that we expect from Omnius has returned from game 2. Does it have that same by Panda with the third save in 30 seconds? Keeps this play alive, keeps the score sheet close. And now in the counter-attack, that will be looking to expand.
Man, oh man, they've picked up on their defense, and as I say that, Faster hit me. Luna goes and puts it in the top corner for 3-2 Forge. I mean, it was a great play from apparently Dr. Phil into the corner, and Luna's ready to mop up and say, right, boys, this is our game. Let's turn this back around, and here we go. 3-2, 2 minutes 10 to go.
Player typing in the chat. Cast a curse as well. Check his PayPal, ladies and gentlemen. Dodge, welcome back to the caster team. The curses do return. Ball up, and this is very dangerous there for the Azura defense. They're able to escape with their lives, and the lead is well shot in the post. That fourth defender now playing a factor. I must say, we've not been hearing that ping as much as we have done in the first game. The efficiency has been there when it's come to finding the target. It's just that the defensive heroics have stopped what would essentially be some double-digit score lines with how attacking these games have gone on.
Yeah, very much so. And it does seem like the Nightshade boys are trying to pick things up again. We do see a little bit more offense from them. Panda, that's a great redirect, but Meet Fatty read it all the way. And now he has the opportunity to start his attacking play. But the ball goes middle. Silver is up. He plays it off the backboard. Luna's a little bit awkward in the air there. It does get played to the corner. Panda not quite close enough to keep that play going. And the momentum shifts once more. Now we see Forge playing again to the middle as they do so well. I mean, the Omnius boys, when they go on offense, they are such a tight rotation machine. However, Nightshade have come back, and Panda, for the hat trick, goes and scores to level it up.
This is the AGM, putting the game in his own hands, beats that first player, and on the second, does so well there to give him the illusion of that early challenge. Break taps at that final second for the dunk, and that can make all the difference. Really intelligent there from the assistant general manager. And now they'll be looking to pick up off the back of that momentum. It's their attack yet again. The backboard defense, though, has been strong from Omnius. It's going to be a desperate clear there from Silver, which he will look to follow up on. And it's that low boost that I feel like always creeps in whenever an Azura player is on the ball. That does get you concerned about whether they are able to create an offense. They've certainly been able to hold down at the midfield line at the very least. But this is the difference. Omnius essentially 3 players with at least 50 boosts looking to try and make something happen. The good ball inside, 2 players having to decide who will get that final touch, and we might not be in overtime yet, but this is certainly golden goal as that ground starts to heat up. Luna secures it!
There are not many things in this world better than a 0-second winner. And what a play from Luna. Grabbing his hat trick at the death as well as the win in this game. I was for sure convinced that we were going to overtime, but Luna, while he's chatting to us, is saying, "Nah, boys, let me cook." And there we go. 4-3, Forge takes game 3. And it's looking rather dire for Nightshade. They do have 1 game left to try and salvage something. But man, oh man, Forge, every game they play, they just look better and better.
It's 1 game as well to try and equal that record in pre-season. It was Forge with a 3-1 victory versus Nightshade in that week 1. Now here in the regular season, it feels like same old Omnius, maybe even a little bit stepped up here with some of those passing plays we saw before. But I feel like what that last game showed more than anything, Dutch, was a little bit of character, just being unrelenting no matter where that scoreline constantly shifts. You saw them at full concentration, never really bringing themselves down and always willing to grab that game by the horns. And well, we saw that on 0 seconds. They could have just slammed that ball down. They could have just played for OT, and that might have been the safer option. But they kept that ball high, played it all the way across, and now Luna is reeling off in celebration, waiting for a game 4 with a series win already guaranteed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that 0-second keep up, it's an unspoken rule in Rocket League, isn't it? And the boys adhered, and it worked out in their favor. I mean, maybe not 4-0, but definitely for Omnius. And I mean, again, what a game, right? So game 1, close as you can get. Game 2, a little bit one-sided, but then game 3, again, we came so close to it going either way, and that is so great to see in this first week. I mean, that just shows you that these guys are not to be played with. I mean, you can come up against them. Both of us are rival players, so Pegasus, and I'm honestly terrified to face either of these teams because they are looking on fire. So this is a really good first series for me to watch, just to do my little bit of homework for my team to take back. Boys, we have work to do.
It's never felt so good not to be on a team, because I do not want to fall victim to that Omnius roster. They look so strong, and I'm typically the 3rd man in the teams I play for as well. So it's going to be me there on that goal line, constantly trying to get these clearances out. And in all fairness, Azura have done well in that sense. I want to highlight Panda as often that final man who's been forced to make those double, even triple saves in certain positions, which, as much as it is a compliment to himself, how are Forge getting 3 attacks in such quick succession that he has to play a little bit like Spider-Man, like Lev Yashin, the Russian spider, covering every single post he can, leaping back and forth to get these clearances? It is ridiculous to be pushed to that full potential in week 1 with a team playing like a team that's stuck here for the full 9 weeks in a higher tier.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive display there from Panda was something else, and he does seem to favor that sort of role from the games that I've played with and against him. He does seem to be the more defensive, more sort of, third man sort of player. But I mean, one man doesn't make a team, and unfortunately his team just let him down by not going to score more goals than they is back up. All right.
Amazing. Okay, just heard word there, but ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and if you, in case you missed it, we did have raids for substitution on the side of Azura. Nightshade dropping out there halfway through the game. So as well, with that tech pause, it actually has somewhat saved the viewers there, that they don't get to miss any of the action, and we can return soon, hopefully with everyone here still remaining.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, in chat, you can immediately see that people are like, oh no, the stream is gone. But don't worry, the stream is back, and we are restarting the game for you as we had some technical issues in the lobby as well. So if you think you've missed anything, you have missed not a single thing except a little bit of waffling from me and Sir Pegasus. So that game did have a goal. However, it's not going to stand. It's going to be a restart at 0-0, just to make it fair for everyone, because the sub on Nightshade was disconnected from the get-go. So we are going to have a restart on game 4, and I'm really hoping that he gets to play, because it would be great to see a 4th player be introduced on the Nightshade team and see what sort of difference he can make for the roster.
I always love a substitution. It's one of my favorite parts in RSC, especially that you really do not get anywhere else. I mean, whenever there is a substitute, it's usually because of a power outage somewhere in the RLCS, and that's where you start to get a little bit exciting. It essentially makes international news in the Rocket League scene. But over here in RSC, it can essentially happen for any reason, and this time it's actually the max CMV entering the pitch. Usually it's the other way round, but the transition on your screen is a wonderful sign, ladies and gentlemen, because 6 players return to the pitch, and that substitute unfortunately will not make a feature.
That is quite unfortunate, but it is actually quite interesting what I've seen this season so far. Of course, I mean, the season hasn't quite started yet, but especially in preseason, we've seen a lot of rotation between the players in the rosters, and that's because the CMV gap has been brought a lot closer. There's not a huge difference between the lowest and the highest CMV in any particular team, but I mean, there are different strats, right? One team can do 3 mains and a sub, and another team can just do 4 rotating players, depending on who's feeling the best on the day. But unfortunately, we don't get to see that substitution. So we do see Divine, Panda, and Silver retake to the field. And so far, we've been waffling for a minute, and we haven't had any goals yet. So that's a good start for us.
I believe in game 2, by this point, we had 2 goals in the favor of Omnius. And then from there on out, it was really tough for Azura to get any space in that green half. So despite all the resets, despite not even knowing who was going to be on the pitch for this 4th game, I'm glad that they have been able to get their bearings together, and we get to see truly the beauty of RSC, because as much as the series is lost, it's game wins that actually count. So Azura can get something out of this.
100%, and that's why every single game in this league is so important. Are you 3-0 down? We don't care. Go for that point in game number 4, because at the end of the season, it could make a world of difference. And that's the beauty about this league. It is not just if you win, you're out, you're through. If you lose, you're out. Every single point matters. So they are going to be playing for it. What a save there from Divine on the line. And the attacking play is now being built based off of that. Panda plays it onto the backboard. This is good offense here from the orange team, from Nightshade, but unfortunately to no fruition. Now Forge is trying to play this back to the opposing half. They are trying to play it middle. It pops up, but all 3 defenders for Nightshade are there. And just over 2 minutes played and still 0 goals. This is such a contrast to pretty much every other game we've had, Sir Pegasus.
Absolutely, and you see as well that GM, who did sub himself on Silver, is actually having a really good start to this game. I've loved how he's positioned defensively. I love that inside pass to Panda, who couldn't quite break past Luna, who at many moments has been that standout star, was the hat-trick hero in that previous game to secure that series victory. But you've got to be able to keep that mentality. Job's not finished yet, and I've seen so many teams come week 7, week 8, week 9 wish they would have taken these game forwards at their full potential.
Absolutely. So now Luna plays that backboard defense like a pro. It gets 2 clearances off that backboard, and now we do have an offense here from Forge. It's still so tight in the midfield. Every single ball is being contested. Every single pass is being intercepted. And I mean, it is still so difficult to predict which way this is going to go. Panda, again, with a really good clearance off the backboard. Divine ready to pick that up and go forward. Silver is caught a little bit under the ball. Panda is there to bail him out. Now, the redirected from Divine was closed, but unfortunately nothing. It did fake out the defense, and Panda, once again, is there to score the goal, and now we have a Nightshade lead.
And I thought Pandas were lazy. This is the most hard-working player on the pitch. Defense, offense, midfield, on the ball, off the ball, an asset to any team he finds himself on, and certainly is the light for Nightshade. However, we have seen quick responses from Omnius, and I'm sure they'll be looking to do exactly that. This is a quick counter from what could have been a double lead for Azura from right back up the pitch here. Side bumps coming through, a little bit of bumper cars being played on what has been an absolute funfair of the series and admittedly of the stream so far. Ball over, and Luna has to take this one carefully. He is demoed for his troubles, but at least that 100 boost is not in opponent's possession. Scorched Earth Rocket League being played, and in these final 45 seconds, Omnius still need to hunger for that sweep.
Nail-biting stuff here in the last 30 seconds of this last game. Do we see a point here for Nightshade? They do deserve it. They've played extremely well in this last game. Panda is the standout player on that roster, as you mentioned, in defense and offense. And I would love to see a point being put on his name, put some respect on his name. Silver plays this off the backboard. Again, Divine is there. He tries to keep the attack going. The ball gets played between Panda and Silver, just trying to keep it away from the Forge players. Omnius are not really getting back on the ball. Fatty plays a last-ditch cross attempt. It is just before the line. The ball drops, and Nightshade do repeat what happened in pre-season and take that 1 point home.
Bleeding is stopped, and history truly repeats itself. It was 3-1 for Forge, but in that last game, I feel like it was the only real game, Dutch, where we got to see what Nightshade were truly capable of. It was a lot more front thinking, and I feel like it was that desperation. It was that backs against the wall. It was that nothing to lose type mentality that somewhat caught Omnius off guard there. It was such a different way to play than they had done before. And I feel like if they had started with that same bit of ambition in their transitions, this could have been a completely different series score at the end of it.
Yeah, if you look at that last game, it does feel like they started a bit more passive, a little bit more defensive in the first at least 2 games. In game 3, you started seeing that bit of transition where they realized, okay, we need to attack a little faster. We need to give them less time on the ball. And you started seeing that in game 3, and then obviously it meant the world to them in game 4, taking that point. And I mean, fair play to Forge. They played excellently every single game. Even in that last one, it was super close. But a good 3 points there for Omnius Gaming, as well as a point for Azura. And as we are joined here by Rhino for the end of the series. Rhino, that was a great way to end the first rival series of the season.
Wasn't it just? What a wonderful series that you guys got to cast. It was fantastic. And what a night we've had on our first night of RSC as well. I do want to talk to you both a little bit about that game debrief, if you will, because it was very, very close. Every single game other than one was a 1-goal game, and the one that wasn't was a 2-goal game. So Pegasus, so tight between these two sides. Omnius kind of edged it out. What do you think gave them the edge overall in this series?
It was just about that possession and just the overall pressure they had, because especially when you're looking at the likes of that game 2, which was a 2-goal game with those 2 goals scored very quickly in the first 30 seconds, Nightshade really didn't have any space in that opposing third. It was shots constantly peppered. You would have expected it to be a wider scoreline if you had just cut the cameras before they broke into that 6-yard box. But part of that credit has to go as well to that Nightshade defense. They are a team that are very defensively capable. It was just the transitions at times were not quite there. And I would say actually that building off the foundations of a defense is something that you would prefer than trying to build a defense from the front to the back, because I feel like that is the toughest skill to have. It's a lot more instinctual. It requires more in-game reps to build that up, whereas those offensive rotations, I mean, that's when you're in possession. That's where you actively have control. So it is still a lot of positives to take out there from Nightshade, but ultimately, if you're getting more,
if we consider the fact that, you know, Omnius came out so aggressively in that first game, I think that maybe have taken Azura by surprise, and it took them a game or two to really start adjusting to that speed, and they did at some points try to slow it down to their pace and make sure that they can control the game, but Omnius just wasn't giving them that opportunity. So the thing to take away from the series indeed is that adaptation during your series, because you can prepare as you see fit, but if you come up against an opponent that you haven't practiced for, you need to change on the fly. And I think that's something that they may have taken a little too long on in the series. We did see that transition happening in game 3, but that was too little too late. It was already 2-0 at that point, and you know, those first 2 goals, those quick goals in game 2, that might have just actually hurt their you know, the way that they were looking at it, because they might have come into game 2 and said, okay, we're going to try and change things up, and then if you concede so early and twice, that can kill your mental immediately as a team. So that is something that they might just need to watch out for, something to overcome in the future. But their defensive rotation was on point. I have to give them that. Panda is an excellent player, an excellent captain, and he made sure that his team stayed in the game as much as they could. Even though it was 3 wins to Omnius, they were so close. There was never a sort of wipeout from these players. So they have to take away that they played extremely well. It is just that adapting to the playstyle of the opponent in real time, that is something that they might want to work on.
For sure. Strong defense from Azura, but it wasn't enough to take down their opponents. Omnius Gaming able to get the victory. So we're going to shut this one down. Thank you both for casting that game. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed it at home, as we start to thank all of the sponsors once more for making RSC SSA Season 4 a reality. Of course, Genesis Extreme, the team behind the scenes of our broadcasts. Of course, a couple of technical issues tonight, but they continue to be professional and try and support us as best they can. Nearstream are going to be supporting us with the RSC LAN coming up in a few weeks. I've got more information on that in just a moment, but they'll be providing our equipment. And of course, Slayer Energy. Every crate of Slayer sold is gonna put 50 Rand in our prize pool. Make sure that you you scan the QR code, which will be appearing on screen at random times throughout this season, and you can get yourself a crate of Slayer and also support RSC SSA Season 4. But I've teased it enough. It's time to talk about it. The RSC mid-season LAN is returning once again. We are going to Stellenbosch on the 4th of October, and you will want to be there. More information will be coming out in the Discord server over the next few days and weeks, but Stellenbosch is the place to be. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but all of your favorites will be, of course. Greybeard and Bromeo will be rocking up alongside the whole RSC SSA team, so you will not want to miss it. It will be an amazing event. We hope as many of you can come as possible. Bring your Slayer energy, you know, keep you on your toes and keep you energized for the event. But that's going to do it for week 1. Maybe the start of a little bit of a rocky road, but the only way is up for RSC SSA Season 4. We hope you enjoyed everything tonight that we brought you. 2 games, 2 excellent games nonetheless. And we've got so much more to come. The rest of the season will be following us. Join us next week, Thursday, at exactly the same time, 7 p.m. SAST, 6 p.m. BST, and we will be with you once more. But for now, for Rhino, for everyone else who's casted tonight, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. We will see you next Thursday. Take care. See you there.
They do not know the rising towers of Hillbrow. They do not know the sprawling suburbs of the north. They do not know the sweet sounds of isiXhosa, Afrikaans, Sesotho. They do not know our ways. They do not know our people. They do not know us. We are not waiting for permission. We are not asking to be seen. We are our own region. We are SSA. RSC Johannesburg. RSC Nairobi. RSC Saint-Denis. This is not just a league, it is a movement. 4 seasons deep, and we are only just beginning. We train on 200 ping. We grind through blackout. We fight through silence. And we win anyway. This is Sub-Saharan Africa. This is our fight. This is Season 4.